What if there was a way to change your psychological state so you could do more work in less time and actually enjoy the work that you're doing? Well, today I'm going to show you the 4-part framework of how you can use this mental super state to excel in your own life. And once you understand this, your approach to your goals will drastically change. So what exactly am I talking about here? Well, I'm talking about flow state. Now, the idea of the flow state was discovered and developed largely by a psychologist known as Mihai
Csikszentmihalyi.
That guy. And the main idea is that it is a mental state of optimal focus and performance. Athletes enter flow states when they compete at the highest level, and creatives use flow state when they construct the masterpieces that we all recognize. It feels as if our actions and our consciousness blend into one. We lose our sense of time and we lose our sense of self-consciousness. In fact, it feels as if you become the activity that you are doing. And that's why flow state not only makes you more productive, but is actually more fulfilling. But flow isn't just for elite athletes and revolutionary artists. No, it's for people like you and I, and we can use flow on a daily basis to perform better at the things that we do so that we have more time to experience the things we truly want in our lives. The way we do that is by using the STIM framework that I'm going to be explaining in this video, which will help you stimulate flow state on a regular basis. See what I did there? And to prove this stuff actually works, I'm going to show you how I've applied the STIM framework to my routines so that I can excel at the beginning of my psychology course at university alongside all the other areas of my life. Now, the first part of this framework is all about focusing on one thing at one time, which is a necessary requirement to enter flow. I want you to imagine for a moment that you've just got in the car to go to a destination that you've never been to before. Chances are you would use a sat-nav to direct you there, because just getting in the car and going for a drive and trying to figure it out on the spot won't lead you to where you want to go. In the same way, if you got distracted by every single turn and exit you could take during the journey, you would never actually get to the final desired destination. And finding flow in our work is very similar. You need to have a singular focus on a specific goal for that session, i.e., you set the destination on your sat-nav and you follow the road you're supposed to be on. Last year, I read Cal Newport's book called Deep Work, which was a fantastic account of how flow state can be applied to our modern work lives. In the book, Newport argues that quality of work can be calculated through doing hours spent working multiplied by the intensity, which in this case is the singular focus on that one task. Using this theory and this equation makes it obvious to see how flow state can help us get more done in less time, because it is a state of very high intensity. You will get more done in 2 hours of deep flow rather than doing 5 to even 10 hours of very shallow distracted work. That's why recently, to set up flow state during my university work, I make sure my phone is always inaccessible in a drawer, my MacBook is set on to do not disturb, and I have a clear intention when I sit down to work. Now, this second point is best explained when we use the bench press in the gym as an analogy. When you go to bench press, to do this exercise effectively, you need to pick a weight that is appropriate for you. If the bar is too light, then you will not stimulate the muscles and cause size and strength gains. However, if it's too heavy, you will send the bar through your skull and end up in the hospital. You pick a weight that is challenging but not overwhelming, and then gradually increase the weight over the weeks and months in a process known as progressive overload. When we think about trying to incorporate flow state into our work, it's very important that we choose a task that is somewhat on the line between what we've already mastered and what is overwhelmingly difficult. And this area, this line, actually has a name. It's called the zone of proximal development and was theorized by a Russian psychologist called Lev Vygotsky when he was doing studies on learning in infants. When a task is within the zone of proximal development, it is something that you definitely can achieve. However, it needs serious cognitive effort, and that's why it stimulates flow. A task that's too easy makes us bored, and a task that's too difficult makes us frustrated. It's somewhere in the middle where we find bliss and flow within our work. In 1990, Mihai Csikszentmihalyi said, "Flow is a state in which people are so involved in an activity that nothing else seems to matter. The experience is so enjoyable that people will continue to do it even at great cost for the sheer sake of doing it." And it's the experience being so enjoyable that we're going to be focusing on in this third point. Flow requires a dose of what is called intrinsic motivation. You have to find a level of enjoyment in doing the work for the work's sake. You have to find some level of satisfaction in the process of doing rather than waiting for a consequential outcome. Now, this doesn't mean that the task has to be super easy or super simple, but, and this is very important, it has to somehow be meaningful to you. For me, my university work is so fulfilling because I love the feeling of learning. I love figuring things out that I had no clue about previously. And making my YouTube videos is fulfilling because I'm able to work through and consolidate ideas that I've been thinking about, and I get to share those with the world and have a positive impact. Now, the final M in the STIM framework is all about making sure our machine is sufficiently fueled. Your brain is a biological supercomputer that is constantly processing and organizing complex information all of the time. And computers need power. The ways in which you power your brain are of fundamental importance when it comes to flow, because if the machine isn't fueled, it isn't going to go anywhere. This means for the ultimate recipe for flow, we need to focus on things like rest, recovery, and the sources of fuel we put into our body. This means that sleep is an absolute non-negotiable if you want any of the other points in this video to actually work. It also means recognizing that we can't stay in flow for hours on end, and that cognitive fatigue is actually a thing. In fact, our brains go through 90-minute cycles of focus and fatigue that we mustn't ignore. So doing a 90-minute block of focus work and then taking 30 minutes to rest before you go again is a great strategy to manage your cognitive energy. So, and this is no exaggeration here, if you want to 10x your productivity, you need to choose a task that is appropriately challenging for you, that you can work towards with a specific goal and a singular focus. It needs to be something that is intrinsically motivating to you, and you need to have enough cognitive energy to work towards it. However, applying each of the points in this video requires you to have a strong grip over your attention, and in this modern day, that is a rare and difficult thing. That's why I worked hard on this video here that will show you how to survive the modern attention crisis, and I will see you guys over there.